Welcome to the Stocks with Josh show, and finally a crypto conversation. This is going to be a crypto summit video. I've got a special guest I'm going to bring on, and we're going to dive into some of the bigger questions. What can we expect right now from Bitcoin? There are some that are speculating that we hit October. In this last couple days, Bitcoin made a brand new all-time high. Very lofty price, a very successful run from the crypto winter. And there are some that are saying, that's it. The top is in the rear view mirror. It's time to pack it up and take all of your crypto money over to Wall Street and start buying some stocks. The stocks are running like meme coins, plays that are moving up 2x, 3x in a couple days. And we're going to dive into all of this. And I'm going to, even if I've got some time, I'm going to do some charting for you guys on some cryptos by request. Welcome to the Stocks with Josh show. Thank you for taking a minute and hit that like for me. And yes, I've got back-to-back videos here today. I did a special with Trading with Ashley earlier. Please take the time to watch that. Midway through, I do some charting there that you guys never want to miss and some commentary. And I'm going to be releasing a video. Ashley's releasing a video on her page of me and her. And in that video, I charted AMD, Hood, and what else did we chart? AMD, Hood, and it wasn't Palantir. I apologize. I forget the other one. Oh, I'm forgetting. Forget about that. Those were very good technicals, inspired. Oh, SoFi. I apologize. Out of the three, one of them clearly emerged as having a lot of room to run, but I'm not going to reveal which one that is. You got to wait for that video. You can go watch it on her page. I'm actually going to take my charting, which I loved in that particular video, and I'm going to repost it on my page in a couple days so that you guys don't miss out on the things that I talked about. Let me bring on my special guest. Thank you guys for joining me today. I appreciate everybody who shows up. And this is going to be a profitable conversation. And it's time to check in with what's going on in crypto. And to do that, I love to share that time with my man, Mark from Tribal Trades. Welcome to the show, Mark. Thank you for being here today.
Hey, Josh. Thanks for having me on. Much appreciated. Great to be here.
All right. I'm going to do some basic charting on Bitcoin. And I'm going to make, I don't know where Mark and I are going to line up. Could be that I'm going to be the bull today and Mark might be the bear. I don't know. Mark, I want you to know that I've come, even though we're friends, let's put that friendship to the side. I want to fight. Never peace, only war. Always trouble. We're going to, because here's the point I'm going to make right out of the start, Mark. Just like the S&P 500 and just like the Qs and everything else, gold at 4K, the market has by no means signaled bearishness right now. It has given no bearish signals. Now, I will agree with you that as we've climbed, volume has begun to slow up, but we're still climbing. No, nothing's broken down. We're above stacked moving averages. Now, that's how the bulls run the show. They stack the 20, they put the price above the 50, above the 20, above the 10, above the 9, above the 5, and then they just keep hitting it with all-time new highs. And that's the market we're in. So I'm still kind of questioning how people are showing up to say that this is a bearish. Are we not trying to guess the top? All right, brother, that's a little bit of the bull case. I'm curious your take on it because, the fact is prices are lofty. What do you see right now?
Yeah, we made a new all-time high. So all those that said the Bitcoin top was in August didn't get that right. And I've always felt that and always said that the 4-year cycle is intact. And I do think that. And I would be foolish not to consider that we could have a super cycle or that Bitcoin in particular could run a little bit more like the stock market. But I still do think we'll see, I'm leaning more towards the 4-year cycle and that the Bitcoin top will come in this quarter, sometime between now and the end of the year there. And for altcoins, I think there's a lot more bearishness on the horizon. This has been really the cycle of Bitcoin. And I think that I wouldn't want to be caught with holding a whole bunch of altcoins that lose 90% of their value.
Well, brother,
ETFs.
The alts have already lost. We already went into a winter on the alts. We went into a winter since March, right? I mean, when did a lot of the alts began to decline? We've been declined in the alts. I think a lot of us have been waiting for the alts to do their last thing. Now let's be real with each other. Bitcoin just hit a brand new all-time high in the last week. Now, what we saw is that when Bitcoin does begin to near its top, traditionally, Bitcoin continues to rise slowly, but then what comes next? Every single cycle, the exact same thing, and it's Ethereum. Out of nowhere, the dark horse rises, and you know everyone was saying the same thing. That ETH was dead. You guys have heard me complain about ETH endlessly because it was just going so slow and not doing its thing. But out of nowhere, it woke up and it rocketed higher. And now it's back in this stratosphere. So let's pause. Let's pump the brakes. ETH came up. It's doing what crypto does. After ETH begins to continue to stay steady, then we start seeing the alts move. Now, so far, Bitcoin did what it's supposed to do. ETH did what it's supposed to do. The alts have not done what they're supposed to do. We're talking gangbusters, hand over fist, people panic buying. Now, I still believe, I'm still hoping and believing for that kind of a move. I've got a lot of money on the sideline in my crypto accounts, which has been sitting for a long time unemployed. And I began to take some nibbles because I'm believing that's going to happen. But let's quickly, now I'm going to switch from being the bull to I'm going to entertain some of those bear problems. And
I think there's some issues. There's some issues.
There are some issues. Let me throw one out and I'll get your thoughts on it. So one issue is that this has been the season of alt creation. I mean, we have companies that just purely deliver the ability for anybody to create an altcoin. We have, I believe, over 100 million altcoins versus the 10,000 that we had in days gone by. So 100 million to fight our way through and to figure out which is going to pop next versus it used to be 10,000. So everything's been skewed by the changes that have occurred. So I'm curious your thought on that.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, when you got 10,000 coins in the last cycle, and then this cycle now over 100 million, but you have about the same amount of liquidity. Now, the total two, which is the entire market cap of every single altcoin minus Bitcoin, of course, it's just the altcoin market cap, made a new all-time high just recently, but it was only a little bit above the top of 2021. So really, we've got around just over the same amount of money that we have, but instead of it going into 10,000 altcoins, it's going into 100 million altcoins. And if you imagine with just, if I had a loaf of bread here and I had a jar of Nutella and I was spreading it over the bread, but then somebody came and gave me another 1,000 loaves of bread and I had to spread that same Nutella over all those bread, it's just not going to go round. And that's what we're seeing. I mean, how can we have a new all-time high for altcoins, but most altcoins are nowhere near their all-time highs? And I think people are frustrated about that. And I think some of this money, crypto money, has started to be deployed into the stock market.
Okay, wait, pause. Let me put a bookmark in that.
Yes.
Okay. You dropping the whole pile of gems, all the coins hitting the floor. I can't even pick them up. First of all, isn't the reference not Nutella but like Vegemite? Isn't that? Don't you? I mean,
well,
where's the cultural relevance here, brother?
Well, I'm trying to, in America, so I've got to speak as
you're just speaking. Okay, I appreciate you. I appreciate you relating to us. Nobody
wants to put Vegemite on their sandwiches in America. Let me tell you.
You know what? I tried that Vegemite one time, and was not a fan. Okay, real quick, we got something I have to acknowledge. Jai Shairam, thank you, sir, for your extreme generosity. He dropped a super chat of $100, and he said, "Lots of love from India, Josh. You the man, and may God bless you." And and I appreciate the super chat, and I don't normally make room for just the super chats by themselves, but it's what he said that I'm loving. Made 111 G's today.
Wow.
Thank you. And I know what he's talking about. All right. He didn't specify it, but the plays that have been getting delivered have been timely, fire.
Yes.
I'm up, bigly. I'm up. And, and then to that point, I'm going to segue back to what Mark was saying, that a lot of money does seem to be flowing over from the alts right now over into stocks. And I'm going to Vegemite Mark's bread here, okay, with a little bit of Nutella. We're going to mix it all up. And let me just acknowledge the man. So Mark is in the Stocks with Josh Discord, and he's got his own channel. He's a crowned trader. Some of you have been sleeping on him. And let me just tell you why that's a mistake, okay? He's given 3 trades in the last 30 days. He gave ASTX that went from $34 to $85 in 2 days. Now, this is relevant. We're chopping up the past, but I'm going to make a point here. He gave OXLL, not OXLO. He gave OX, not OCLO. He gave OXLL, and it went from $35, and in 7 days, it went to $100, giving everybody 300%. And he gave SMCX that went from $40 to $55. And what's sad is that all of us should be thrilled on the idea that we could give an alert and it would go from $40 to $55 and you get a $15 pop. But the Wall Street's turned into, the crypto of years gone by when we're all expecting 2x, 1x, 2x, 3x out of stocks. First of all, congratulations, Mark, on those plays. And I know that I brought this guy into the fold. Now, first, he's a friend of mine. This isn't just some random dude. This is a personal friend of mine. And I was impressed with his research abilities and his hunger and and his success in his own personal trading. And I brought him in, encouraged him to get onto YouTube, brought him in, put him in a leadership position in the Stocks with Josh Discord. And I want you guys, you know what? He's not wasting anybody's time. You could take every single trade that he drops. Does it mean every single trade's going to be a winner? No. You can't expect a win on every trade. You've got to plan. I don't win on every trade. Matter of fact, I'm thrilled when I run between a 70 to 80% success rate, because if I marry that with my disciplines and I do it consistently, that's where the money comes from. So, Mark, throwing it back to you. First of all, congratulations and thank you for bringing such high quality wins. But you and I were talking earlier about what's the relevance of these types of moves right now, and how does that relate to this conversation regarding crypto? Because some think that I just got off point, but I haven't.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's because people are getting a little bit frustrated with crypto because of the large amount of altcoins, a lot of the scam projects, the bad actors, the hacks, the meme coins that came out at the beginning of the year. And of course, the wash trading. And if people don't know what wash trading is, it's illegal in stocks, but there's no such regulatory clarity for crypto that makes it illegal. And so exchanges can send crypto to market makers who buy and sell and artificially manipulate the price. And this is one of the big issues in crypto at the moment. And there are several influencers, investigators that follow these exchanges and these market makers and have proof and have been sending a lot of it to Congress to try and clean it up. And while it's relevant is because there has been a record number of retail buying in the stock market just in the last 30 days or September. I'd have to look at the stats that I was looking up. There has never been more retail buying stocks in history than there has just recently. And interestingly enough, the stock market had that drop from February down to April, and it was retail that started the buying to kick off the stock market run that's been on from April to October. And then institutions have come in later and they've been buying up, but they've been late to the party. And I do feel it's the frustration that we saw. And Josh, you had a very powerful word for me earlier in the year when you said, with when we saw what happened in December and January, and we felt there was heavy manipulation there. There was a huge number of altcoins come in, and you spoke to me and you said, stock market. That's where it's at right now, the stock market. And I started to look into the stock market, and that's how I've been able to come up with a lot of these plays and more. And we're just seeing those crypto kind of gains in the stock market. We're seeing, like I said, the ASTX play went up huge numbers just in a couple of days. The OCLO, I trade the ETFs because you get 2x the gains. OKLL is the ticker. And that went from 35 to 100 in just 7 days.
Mark,
incredible.
Mark, you're at,
yes.
And now Mark's my buddy. And Mark, you're in gear 5, running 110 in your Porsche 911. Slow down. And everybody in here, I don't want you to lose anybody, because it's always, talk to me like I'm a third grader. So really slow, recap what you just said.
Yeah, so with the retail, the record number of retail buying, I feel that's come from crypto. I think people have gone a little bit burned out, disillusioned, and I feel that money has come over from crypto into stocks. And I think it does feel like so many of these trades that I'm given feel like the peak of 2021, when there was peak FOMO and coins were jumping up hundreds of percent in just a few days or a week. And I feel that very much the same with stocks at the moment, like the ASTX play that I gave, the OCLO trade that I gave, these coins that went up hundreds of percent in just under a week. We're seeing, and it feels like the crypto FOMO has come into the stock market there. And I don't blame them, because of the large number of coins that you alluded to earlier. 100 million coins compared to 10,000 is just not the money to go around. And then also the manipulation with the market makers and the wash trading that is illegal in the stock market. And I feel that the crypto market would move a lot like the stock market if wash trading was illegal in crypto. And I think we're seeing what would happen in the crypto market. And this is just my opinion. This is not financial advice. These are just my thoughts. Feel free to disagree with them, anybody, but just my thoughts. And that we're seeing what would happen in the crypto market if this wash trading was illegal, and if there was some regulation. There were coins are being created that are honeypots, and that's just tragic to me. And I'll explain what a honeypot is, and Josh knows what a honeypot is because he's been the victim of a honeypot, and it's not very nice. At the beginning, there's lots of buying and selling, and people start FOMOing in, and all of a sudden the owners of the coin can stop the selling and only people can buy, and everybody just thinks, oh my gosh, this coin's up thousands, and people keep FOMOing in because they don't want to miss out. But no, people can't realize that they can't sell. And then all of a sudden they scoop it and it just drops down to zero and everybody loses their money.
Well, again, Mark, we've got to,
in crypto, but they are.
Mark, we've got to be more clear. So, and I think some people understand what the honeypot is, but I want you to understand that these are blockchains, which means they're essentially online software that roams free. But the people who create them, some of them have the ability to have a back door where they can open it up and turn off selling. So just, New York Stock Exchange, we don't get to do that part. That's behind the scenes. With blockchain, it's live, which means that whoever controls the code can control whether you can sell it. And so what they do is they'll allow small amounts of buying and selling until eventually when it starts to pick up steam, because they're allowing less selling than they are buying, so they control the way that it views. When eventually it starts to run, then they just turn off the ability to sell. And everybody sees this big green candle and they go in and chase after it. So I just wanted you guys to understand how that worked. Mark, just spitting truth and gems. I appreciate that. I got to quickly shout out. First of all, take a minute. If you guys have enjoyed the show so far, thank you first of all, thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing your time with us. Thank you for hitting the like, hit the subscribe, and don't sleep on Mark's page. I think Mark is underrated. His presence on YouTube is rising. And so, start off with him now because really he's not wasting anybody's time. So I've got to give a shout out to Martin. First of all, we had an incident here which distracted me a little bit. Kind of makes me mad. There's somebody in here. I get spammers, but I don't get people filled with hate. And somebody was in here saying something that really made me mad. And I do have admin who shut him down. I just want to be clear, Jorge. Don't time him out, kick him out, block him. I don't want him in this community. And it's just, it wasn't even directed towards me or Mark. I don't even know where it was directed. It was just random hate. So we're not going to tolerate that. I promise you, I don't tolerate. I'm not into the cursing. Obviously racism, sexism, even political views. I don't care whether you're left or whether you're right. We have to come together and we have to fight for our families' financial futures. And I was speaking in Hampton, Virginia a couple weeks back. Wonderful time, wonderful event. And I made half the crowd stand up. Everybody that was on half of the room, I said, I want everybody to stand up. And I made the point that most economists in the world they're all agreeing that 50% of the employed are going to lose their job by 2030. Okay, within the next 5 years. Okay, so I said, everybody here that's on the right side that's standing up, I want you to take a minute and recognize this isn't going to not touch you. This is going to touch you, and you know what, the United States government, they're not going to be able to help us with that Social Security check. Okay, listen, you can't make it on your Social Security check, and I don't care if you're 62 and you're thinking, well, I'll try to lower my costs. You can't lower them enough. Inflation's going to destroy you, my friend. You got to participate in the investor economy. And the truth is that these, just like Mark is talking about, and I'm talking about, these companies are going up 300%, some of them, in days. And so it's, while the rockets are firing, you better grab a hold of them because I don't want to see you laid off and having missed these opportunities. That's why we're doing this every day. And I have to shout out Martin real quick, guys. Super chat, again, very generous. Thank you guys for the generosity. I don't expect anything like that. He said, thank you, Josh. What can you tell us about SERV stock after today? Well, if it wasn't, I know this is not crypto, but I have to cover this. I have covered SERV for really, let me give you the exact date. So actually, I started talking about it in July when it was below, let me see, where was it? Yeah, July around $10, and last week I said, guys, raise your stop loss. It's do or die. Monday's the day. And now I understand, Mark. They think I'm guessing. They think I'm on here guessing. They think I'm on here just expressing exuberance and bullishness, like without a clue, right? And all I would tell you is this is not luck, my friends. This is well-studied years of charting analysis that's come to a head in my own personal success that I've had the good pleasure of sharing with all of you. Let's go look at the SERV chart so we can all just take a minute and celebrate that today did 100% hit the goal. Amazing. Gave this right here actually as a buy back in, actually 2 times, here and here. And on this day, like literally, this is the lowest it's been in months. I called it a buy right here. Right. And here's the thing. I said, we're going to hit 1750. OK, so it wasn't like buy and then you have no idea where it's going to go. No, I said, we're going to buy here. And in the course of time, we're going to sell up here at 1750. And even as of recently, when we were here, I said, the hard decision is going to be at 1750. Now, the reason why, first of all, I wanted to acknowledge Martin's generous gift, but I also want to, first of all, congratulations. And but let's now talk. He said, what can you tell us about SERV stock after today? Well, okay, so these are weekly candles, right? We can look at daily candles, but this is a weekly candle I'm on right now. So if by the end of the week, which is tomorrow, we hold 1750, and I don't mind some fluctuation, okay? But here's what I can tell you. This is a bald candle. It's a bald expansion candle on high volume, which means that you can raise your stop loss underneath 1690, maybe really tight. Now, I'm not telling you that you won't get wicked out. I'm just everyone has to make a decision about their own stop loss. The last stop loss that I had on this was 1190. I pulled it up under 15. Now we're sitting at 1750. But I want to just point out to you, this is the price to beat. Trust. Now, I don't want you guys to trust me on anything. I want you to do your own due diligence. Okay? So don't trust me on anything. Do your own due diligence. But let me express to you that I understand that we haven't wicked. This candle is a bald candle, which means the bulls push this up from the opening of the market all the way to the close. The bears never got their footing. Imagine, I'm gonna look you guys in the eyeball and tell you this. Imagine you're in a tug of war team, right? Some of you guys have done some tug of war, right? And at some point, the other team just starts losing their footing, and the team that's winning, they're anchored down and they're doing their rocking motion, pulling the other team forward while they begin to tumble and fall before them. That's what just happened with SERV. All right. The bears have tumbled and fallen, and the bulls have utterly hit the line. Now, let me take you back into the chart so you guys can appreciate this move. This is the area where I'm going to expect a wick between 1750 and 20. Now, I always knew. Now, not like Nancy knows stuff, but with high probability, this arrow's been on this chart from day one. From day one. Day one, this arrow's been on this chart. I always knew that we would come up here and then we would wick. We're going to wick between 17 and 20. And this is where, this was guaranteed. Now, no guaranteed money. This is high confidence money. This is what I refer to as easy trading. This was the easy trading decision. Now this becomes stage 2 and stage 3. All right. This is where you want to hold your winners longer because, man, we can literally go from 17 to wick up here at 24. We could easily do that. Now, there's no guarantee. My solution is always to run with a stop. Okay. My solution is to run with a stop. The stop would be 1690. And if I got wicked out, but I saw it come back and break the top of this candle, I would just have to jump back in. So to make it very clear, bald candle, very bullish. We're going to have wick zone 1 and wick zone 2. This will be the final stage of this move before we consolidate. If we do get another candle that closes and it's bald up to around $20, then in my opinion, that's a pretty good sign that we might be doing something along the lines of a complete cup and handle. And then if we were to get up to 24, I'd be looking for this to come back to 1750. Now, you guys, you got to chart every single day, right? You got to chart every single day because the price changes every single day. And sometimes macro events occur, news comes out, and that can happen. Like SERV could announce a bigger dilution plan tomorrow, and then just the stock price retreats and the bears pick up that tug of war rope and yank everybody over to the bear side. But this is why we don't just pick hot stocks. We have patience, which we employed with SERV, and we have discipline, which is you got to put that stop loss in. I know someone's going to say, but Josh, it'll get me out. Okay, then put it a little lower. Put it a little bit lower. And you got to hope it don't wick you out and that tomorrow's another rip day. Thank you, Martin, for the super chat.
Thoughts on that?
Yes, sir.
SERV chart. I actually gave that trade, I think, at about $10. And I gave it again, I think today or yesterday at 14 in the Discord. And if you bring back that chart up there, I want to show you.
I'm gonna throw your charts up, brother.
Okay, my chart's up. I want to show the accuracy of Josh's charting here, but I have a technical target. I've got your chart's actually a little bit cleaner than mine. We might need to bring yours up, but I've got the technical target up to 24, just like you do, because of the Adam and Eve bottom that we have. And I'm just going to, as we stretch that out, we can see there is...
your chart looks like a freaking landmine, a candle explosion.
I said,
come on, man, this is the rainbow going on here. What do you got happening?
It makes me a lot of money, Josh.
I know it does.
But we have a clear W double bottom there, a double bottom there. You can see the Adam and Eve. There's the Adam. There's the Eve. And the technical target for that, Josh, is up at 24. There's a little bit cleaner chart here. That technical target is up to 24. And you've nailed it. We got the Fibonacci $17.61, pretty much right at your $17.50. And that's at the 1.618 Fibonacci. So if that level holds, I would expect this to continue to move And you can see all this liquidity up here that is trapped, these long wicks here. Price is drawn to this. And so I'm expecting somewhere, the technical target for this is right up here at 24, but I'll probably be taking profits at 23. And like you say, Josh, it's one thing to take the trade, but you have to protect the trade as well. You know, it's one thing to take possession of something, but then you have to protect what you take possession of. When we take possession of a trade, whether we got in at $10 or 13 or 14, and now it's at 17, we need to protect what we took possession of. That's good stewardship, to be able to see profit and be able to take profit and not to lose that profit. And this is what Josh talks about. You don't know what's going to happen. They could dilute the stock. They could lose a partnership. Anything could happen. And there's no guarantee that we get up here to these technical targets. And there's no guarantee that once it gets to this technical target, that it's just not going to keep going as well. And you can see clearly a very, very bullish pattern here. We've got this, there's two bullish patterns here. It's the Adam and Eve, but also I like the W bottom here, where you get the left W lower than the right W, and then you break through, and it's clearly broken through there, and we've got a play at the moment for that. So, and Josh and I didn't even talk about SERV or talk about the $24, and it just shows you how
we've never talked about it.
So I just wanted to give you a shout out how good you are at charting, because I have the exact same levels there for SERV on that play. So I think it could have some legs left to run there. And obviously right now in the post market it's $17.72. So it's above that level there, that $17.61 Fibonacci level.
Yeah. So I had those on my chart. They're turned off. I've had that all on my chart from day one. So the where we were going and how we were getting there has all been there day one. I wanted to fixate people on that specific target so that they would have a realistic goal. And if you go back to the first video that I discussed SERV, I specifically said, this is the absolute minimum target that I have for this play. We have to take a moment, and I got to give my man Af Gorilla some love and attention. Now, this guy's been holding down the miners. Okay, you know, I done clowned on the miners. Larry Jones has said don't hold the miners, and you know, rightfully the miners have been like the alts. They just bled away and they went sideways for a long time. But today, unlike the alts, the miners have ripped. And I know that my man here says, look how CleanSpark is performing with new 52-week highs. People called it dead. He might be referring to me. Now, I don't think I ever called it dead, but I did say I wasn't interested just because it wasn't going anywhere. Now, for those who held out the hope, today's a great day for them. Let me take a quick peek with you guys at CleanSpark, because the chart is absolutely impressive. And of course, very similar to SERV, we don't have any form of a rejection. Matter of fact, I'm going to do this as a teaching opportunity, and this is going to be huge. Like, for people that are trying to figure out their charting game, what I'm giving you is solid, and hopefully you all pray that I'll be able to make this clear to you, okay? So we're going to talk about volume, at resistance, and the 2-candle rule, okay? 1, 2. So you know that a stock is a confirmed move up when you get to resistance. Now we see that resistance was right here at around 1390, okay? 1350, okay? So resistance was right here. And we had a huge up day that moved us to resistance, and then we had a little bit of a fight. These are weekly candles. So it hit resistance on this node. It fought that level, fell back beneath it, right? But then it had what's referred to as high volume on price expansion for 2 candles, okay? So what does all that mean? It means that this is very bullish, okay? It means that this is very, very bullish. You know, it basically passes every single check or test for bullishness, right? Now, I think that similarly, we got into this zone in the past, and this was the hard chop zone. So I would say that We have no seller's wick here above 20. I would tell you that if you weren't a diehard believer and you didn't buy in under $15 when you had all of these months to do it, this isn't the time for you. If you want to get in it, I'm just going to say that's fine. You have to then, you cannot rely only on the idea of a hot play. Okay. It's called momentum trading. And the only way that if you were to get in right now on any of these miners, because they're hot, like that chart is nothing but strong. The only way you could get in on them is if you employ discipline. Okay. The discipline has to be your stop loss. Okay. You've got to protect your money. And so congratulations, Af. You have been saying, and I see you in the comments from week to week, and you're like, Josh, stop sleeping on these miners. Josh, and you know what? It would have behooved me to have talked more about them. So congratulations. You did really, really well with that. And I want to talk to you, Af, because I know you were in these back when they were between $18 and $20. I know you were in them then. And at that time, everybody was calling them up to $40. So now we're back to 20. And I want to commission you as a friend. I want to say, this is time for you to have a decision about where your stop loss is going to be. I think at bare minimum, you have to have your stop loss at $15, right? Bare minimum. And if we can consolidate above 20, then you could eventually bring it up to $18.50 to $19. But this winning right now is not about pounding your chest that you were right. It's about protecting your money, because even though you were right today, if you had held ever since these were up in 2024 at $20, if you held that entire time, you had money locked up for too long when there was a lot of stocks that had been ripping in that time frame. So that's just between me and my man Af. All right, let's do this. This is a great show already. I've already enjoyed myself. I know we've dropped a lot. I want to talk briefly about why. What is still bullish about Bitcoin? It's the fact that the U.S. dollar is still weak. Now, earlier, the fact is the U.S. dollar had a little pop today. Okay, just a little pop. Now, if it gets back above, $1, then I think we are going to be on alert for the potential for it to continue to rise. At the moment, it's been very, very weak. So if it continues to be weak and we get rate cuts ahead, which I believe that we will, those conditions allow for more liquidity. Okay, they allow for more liquidity, and that would allow for a final blow off top for Bitcoin. The charts have not at all broken down, and the alts, Ethereum did its thing. The alts have not done their thing yet. So Mark, let's leave people with some very strong, tangible boundaries for their crypto investing. And you and I chatted about this, and I'm going to let you throw it up on your very busy chart. And that's the idea of the 50-week moving average for Bitcoin. And why don't you show it to them and explain it to them, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, so the 50-week moving average, I'm going to show you here the line. This is the line here. It's sitting at $101,000. Now, historically, what has marked, this is your bull market support line. And you can see that when we had this capitulation back in January all the way down to April, where did we come and find our support? At the 50-week moving average, the bull market support line. You can see that even when we had another capitulation in September of 2024, where did we find our support? At the white line, 50-week moving average. And you can see it all the way up that is held. I'm not going to go too far back there. It has held the line all the way up. Now, if we lose this line, that for me is the line in the sand, because bear markets have been confirmed when there is a full weekly candle, so on a Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, was to open below this line and also then close below this line, that has marked the end of the bull run there. Now, sometimes it has come back up and popped up and retested like the 200-day moving average before then capitulating to the downside. And that generally has been a pretty standard practice of Bitcoin. And then from there, it would go down all the way to the 200-week moving average. Now, the 50-week moving average is simply just 50 weeks of average price. You take all the 50 weeks of Bitcoin price and it's averaged out. That's what that is. And the 200-week moving average is just that, but it's 200 weeks. You take the price of Bitcoin over 200 weeks and you average it out, and that price there is at 53 at the moment. But these are always going up. And historically, Bitcoin takes about a year to get to the bottom of the bear market. And so this could be up, for example, at 63 or 66 or 70. So what I do, and what I did in the last bull run and how I got in at about $15,000 at the bottom was, of course, number one, when we lost that 50-week moving average and then it started to go down, I just looked for where the 200-week moving average was, and that was always going to be a good place to buy. Even underneath it is fine to buy. Underneath or on top or just above has been historically a good place to buy wherever that happens to be when it gets down to that level there. And so that is really the line in the sand, the 50-week moving average. It's at 101,000 today. When it gets down there, at some point it's going to come back and test it just like it did in April, and there will be some kind of a drop there, and that's when it could possibly be the end. Now, closing below it, Josh, is not enough. It has to open and close below it on the weekly time frame, and usually that has signaled a confirmation of the end of the bull run. Now, of course, there's never any guarantees that history, what do they say? History doesn't always repeat, but it often rhymes. But that's generally what has happened there. So, and we're a long way away from that at the moment. However, no one knew the top was really in. A lot of people guessed it, but people didn't really know the top was in until that capitulation at that moment in the last cycle that we had. And, you just don't know the top was in at 69. People were still buying like they were buying a dip that keeps dipping. So I think the caution I would urge is, to be careful that we're not buying a dip that keeps dipping. When the market does flip bearish and we start to see lower lows and lower highs, particularly if we lose the 9 EMA or the 20 EMA, that might be a good time to jump out. You can always jump back in because you just don't want to be caught buying a dip that keeps dipping possibly all the way down to $70,000 level there. And I know it sounds a little bit bearish, and I do want to speak to that. That's what I'm looking for. However, I do lean more towards that Bitcoin making a new all-time high and could possibly get to 130, 140. It's currently in a inverse head and shoulders pattern on the weekly time frame. And the technical target I have for that is actually up at about 145,000 there. So, and of course, there's no guarantees again that that's going to play out, but I do lean towards that we still have some more bullishness to come. I do think Ethereum's had a bit of a run, and I do think there are some alts that can have a run. I mean, look, Asta, a coin just launched a couple of weeks ago, went from nothing up to, I got in at 60 cents, fortunately, and it went up to almost $2.50. It's in a bit of a pullback now, but we are seeing still there are some life in the altcoins, and I think there can be some kind of... So I wouldn't be selling all your altcoins or packing your bags, although Total 2 looks a little bearish. USDT dominance is something that I always keep an eye on, Josh, because if that looks bullish, then historically it's bearish, and USDT dominance is the amount of money, percentage of money that is in USDT stablecoin, which is what most people use to buy crypto. And that does look a little bit bullish at the moment. Doesn't mean that we can't see a reversal here. And that does tend to mean that people are selling their Bitcoin and altcoins into USDT, and that's what makes the price of USDT pump. And so we are seeing some bullish signs. So we have to keep an eye on that chart. And of course, Bitcoin dominance as well. When that is pumping, usually alts aren't doing very well. But I do think there is still some time and some room to run for alts. I still do think anytime between now and the end of the year, we are going to see the end of the 4-year cycle and go into a bear market as normal. However, you and I both know that, let's just say that it comes, I mean, I think last time in November, it was mid to late November, let's just say that does come near the end of November. 6 weeks is a long time in crypto. Price could reach kind of stratospheric levels during that time. And so, but of course, we do need to consider that the top is in. We need to consider that maybe October 6th is the top and that it's the end. And we need to be wise with that and good stewards with our finances and not just blindly follow influencers or permabulls on YouTube or Twitter. And I think I'm giving a very balanced case. I feel that there is a little bit of bearishness in the charts after we had this big move up to 126, but I also do lean more towards that we could see some more upside for altcoins. And I certainly hope so. I think everybody who's watching this broadcast owns crypto and hopes to see some further upside. But are altcoins going to get back to all-time high? You know, is Solana going to get back up over 300? You know, BNB recently, the Binance coin recently made a new all-time high. I think that's a good sign as well. But historically, if you look, and this is where we need to be careful, when you look at the data, if you were to look at when all the cycle tops have come in previously for Bitcoin, and we take such data such as the cycle top to cycle top, and if we were to match that from the bull run that finished in 2017 and 2021, then the date lands in October. If we do Bitcoin halving to cycle top for the last two cycles, the dates come in October 19th and October 27th. And if we go from cycle low to cycle top, if we compare that to the last two cycles, again, it comes in at October 24th. Now, there is some hope there because there is a November 26th date in there if it follows the first cycle. And with Bitcoin, the numbers do match. It's incredible how it seems to happen at the same time or around the same time every single cycle. Now, I'm not saying that the top will be in October because frankly, the top has never come in October before. It's only come in November and December. I'm just giving people the data for people to do their own research and decide for themselves that it may come in October.
Man, it's all lunar. I don't know what you're talking about. It's all lunar cycle. I don't know where you're getting your facts, Mark. Okay, guys, I'm just joking. I'm going to show you something small in the Bitcoin chart, and then I'm going to come back and answer a question here by Chancellor Palms. Don't just talk winners, please. Chancellor Palms would like me to talk about some of the losers, and I would love to do that because I'm going to help some of you guys with that conversation in a minute. Let's go over to the Bitcoin chart. Okay, this has not changed. I've told everybody to screenshot it. If you've been on my channel for a while, you understand that in the history of Bitcoin, whenever we have opened and closed a monthly candle above the previous all-time high, which is the red line there, whenever we've had a candle cross above and the next one's opened and closed above, we've always made it to the next fib level. Okay, so this has never proven wrong. Not one time in all of the years of Bitcoin's existence has this not followed through. So we already got that confirmation that we were going here. It doesn't mean that it can't change, but I just want to remind people of that for perspective. Now, for as far as more specific localized pricing, I want to just talk about what's been happening. These have been stacking. So let's go through it. What once was resistance, okay? This was the first candle that opened and closed above 107, becomes support. Okay, look at that. It came back and it bounced. It made a higher low, and then it bounced again. Now, let's take a step back and look at it a little bit closer. What once was resistance, 119, becomes potentially support. We got this candle broke above it. And if this week closes out above 119, all right, then that is a bullish signal that we're going to continue to climb. So there's no promises here. I can tell you some other things that my eye sees in the chart, and that is a ascending wedge. Okay, so let's draw that out. Ascending wedges are bearish. They always, well, they don't always break to the downside, but 80% of the time they break to the downside.
They do.
Yeah, so the majority, the numbers are against it. If 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 casinos, I think I don't really know much about casinos, but I believe they've got like a minor advantage over the gamblers of a small percentage. And so this has a very, very high predictive rate. So the bearish predictive rate of this structure has a very high dominance over the bullish optimism. So what ultimately happens is this can continue to rocket. It can move all the way to the very tip, right? But these typically break to the downside. So I'm not predicting that. I'm just pointing out that structure. At the moment, I'm suggesting that we are building very nicely on top of structure. I would say this: if you're concerned about Bitcoin and your Bitcoin position, the goal for Bitcoin right now is to hold the bottom of this wick, which is 119,699. Okay, so if you wanted to put a stop loss in because you were scared, you'd put it in at 119,500. And that's where you'd put it. And I've made it very clear that, in my opinion, the bull run is intact as long as we stay above 107. And now my logic there is based on a lot of charting and one more idea. It's kind of the logic that got us the massive win on SERV. It was raise your stop loss. At some point, it becomes do or die. And let's all agree, and I think you've heard this very well articulated from Mark, it's October. This is the moment. This is when, we should be seeing fireworks. So it's do or die time. You raise up your stop losses and it's got to go. And it's got to do what the Clean Spark chart did. We want to see price expansion, 2 candles expanding above 107. Right now, we're seeing price compression. And so there's reason to be on high alert. Having said that, as long as we stay above 119, we're 100% bullish. And as long as we stay above 107, now Mark gave 100. And I kind of agree with him that 100 is the true test line. But I'll tell you that 107 shouldn't break at this point in the game. It shouldn't break. The only thing that should break 107 would be some incredibly unexpected news, some geopolitical conflict, something that would just freak people out. And if within 48 hours it didn't wick back up to 120, then it means that this bull run is over. I don't think the bull run is over. I'm not that bearish right now because I can't be, because I believe the charts. Now, as far as the losers go, I have losers, absolutely have losers, and I plan for losing. I don't plan on winning. I'll share this again. I had a conversation with a close friend who wanted me to teach him how to do well on Wall Street. He wanted to become a consistent winner. He wanted to become rich, right? Looking at my life, he's like, how do I get in on this, Josh? We're buddies. I've been your friend since you were 15. How do I get in on this? I looked him dead in the eye and lovingly said, that sounds good, man. I can help you. How much can you afford to lose? And he's like, what are you talking about? I'm trying to make money. I understand, but there's a cost to learning, because you might not follow my instructions well. You might not do too well. How much can you afford to lose? And he said, I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't know. I got to think about that. And I said, well, think about it and we'll talk again in a couple weeks. And he came back and I said, so what's the answer? How much can you afford to lose? And he said, well, I can't afford to lose anything. I just have to take a step back. I'm going to put this on hold, try to get my life straightened out a little bit, and I'll come back and talk with you. I already have a plan. I don't plan on every single trade being a winner. Someone said, Eric Adams said, I lost $140 today. How about a shout out for that? Whoop, whoop, bam, baby. And, that's why we use stop losses. And I can tell you, if I take you into the Stocks with Josh Discord, matter of fact, I'll do that with you guys real quick. Now let's see, Josh Discord screen. There you go. This is last week updated. If you took every single GOAT alert in the last 2 months, right there in the middle of your screen, if you took an equal amount of money on every single one of my GOAT alerts, your overall portfolio would be up 305%. Okay. Those are the facts. All receipts are in the Discord. And so what I'm trying, and you know what? The truth is, if you had mixed in some of Mark's trades that were crushing it, these 300 percenters in 2 days, that 300% would be higher. The trades that I give detailed explanation. What are we doing? Why are we doing it? Where's our stop loss? Now, I'll give you an interesting story, and just bear with me, guys, for a minute. AMD and PayPal were both GOAT alerts over the course of the last couple of weeks. AMD had a GOAT alert the day before it ripped 25%. And we got stopped out at a negative 30%. Now, I was sad to see that, but I understood that we're not just picking hot stocks. We're employing a well-cultivated series of disciplines and strategies that have enabled me to grow wealth and keep it. And if you just pick the hot stocks and you don't employ the disciplines, you won't really be that successful. You'll just be riding the waves, sometimes at the top and coming down, sometimes at the bottom. So if you want me to dwell, Chancellor Palms, I'm not calling you out. Love you, Chancellor Palms. Love you, Eric Adamson. And, you took a trade and you got stopped out and it was one of my GOAT alerts. I've planned for that, and so should you. Okay, and we did AMD. We got stopped out the very next day. It ripped, but you've got to work your discipline, because at that point we were down 30% in the options. If we had held it and it didn't get that NVIDIA news the next day, we would come down 50% or 60%. And you simply have to protect your capital. Sometimes we're going to catch them perfectly, and sometimes we're going to get stopped out right before the move. But every time, I promise you, if you're following me, you're going to have discipline will be part of the game. I promise you that. All right. There's what I call that is that's my Keenan bop big notebook talk right there.
And that's great. That's great advice, Josh. And I think with Bitcoin as well, even though my line in the sand is at the 50-week moving average for confirmation that the bull market is over, you don't want to be still holding when it loses that level. You want to be stopping out right at that 119,500. I have my level at 120, just about $500 above Josh there, and that level could be lost at any moment. You can always get back in, of course, if you need to get back in, no problem, if you get stopped out. But I think having that stop loss does save you. You don't want to be riding 20,000 down to 100K, hoping it's going to hold, and then that level gets lost as well. So I even think with the 107,000 level that you gave, Josh, I mean, really, we don't want to be holding Bitcoin at 107. I mean, that's a big retracement from where we are at the moment. So I would agree with you on that. And I think those that fail to plan to fail. You've got to have a strategy. When you get in a trade, I always say, what's your strategy if the trade goes against you? You need to know what that is going to be before time. Otherwise, you're going to be 20, 30, 40. All of a sudden, you've ridden your coin all the way down to the bottom of the bear market. You've got nothing to buy anything because everything's lost. And then you've got to pray and hope that the coin does actually recover and doesn't just become another lunar coin that goes to zero and then just never recovers. And then I think also having what you outlined is having a plan for taking profit as well. Like, don't let profit go. If you're in profit, you've made a good trade. You want to fight for that and protect that and have a stop loss there. So if the trade does, if some news comes out or something happens and the technical targets get interrupted and it begins to drop down, that trade can stop out in profit. And so I think that's important, particularly at this point in time in the crypto market, when if we do believe that the 4-year cycle is going to come to an end sometime between now and the end of the year, that there are strategies in place to protect your capital, because you want capital preservation for when we get down into the crypto winter, where you have that money to buy the dip and you're not stuck with a whole bunch of coins underwater in loss.
Can I give, sometimes when people hear others and they hear them talk about their disciplines, it's kind of annoying. It's like, sounds like a bunch of do's and don'ts that don't help them. So let me just explain to you very clearly why you want to have these disciplines. So please lean in a little bit And listen, okay, this is the reason you want to have these disciplines for stop losses. People fight me the most on a stop loss. And the third discipline I have, trade the trend, stop loss, position size, don't overtrade. Number one that they fight me with, to be honest with you, they fight me on all of them. But the stop loss, right? The reason why you use a stop loss is because tomorrow Mark might come in the Discord and through a well-researched stock, pick something that's at $34 that goes to 200. And you could be holding something that's slowly bleeding to death. Tomorrow, yours will drop another 3%. But Mark preserved his capital on a trade that he might have got wrong. Josh preserved his capital on a trade. The timing might have been wrong. We might have just got shook out, but we might be wrong. And now that can be employed. Wall Street always provides you opportunities to rip. They always do. Every day on Wall Street, there's a new opportunity. And that's the number one reason you want to be, you either want to be just buying the SPY, buy VOO, buy SPNO, buy QQQ, and let that sit for your children. Then you have a little bit of money over here that you're growing through learning how to operate on Wall Street like it's a job. And you always want to preserve your capital because you want to be able to go into the next big move tomorrow. All right, guys. I appreciate this comment. I'm going to throw it at Mark from Margin Call Mike. He says, when you start feeling like Mark, that's when alt season starts.
Let's hope so. Let's hope that we do see some upside for the altcoins. Let's hope that some of that money that probably has gone into the stock market. Remember, the data don't lie, that there has never been in the history of the stock market a bigger amount of money come in from retail. I do believe that's come in from crypto. And then if we see some profit taking in the stock market, hopefully that money can flow back into the crypto space, and we will see Solana new all-time highs. We'd all love the Solana Sui new all-time highs, a couple of the favorites here that people have made a lot of money on. And I would love to see that as well. I mean, there's a Solana ETF that's meant to be approved just next week, and it doesn't feel like that. It feels like it was possibly priced in. What are we going to see when that Solana ETF does get approved as expected? And there's also XRP ETFs, HBAR ETFs, and there are a bunch of other altcoins. Will that be a catalyst to kick off the final push for alt season, for some altcoin upside through to the end of the year? So I hope you're right with that comment. I'd love it to be right, and I'll be ready to jump in and make some money if that is the case. And Josh made a very good point. We've seen that Bitcoin pump. We've seen Ethereum rise from the ashes and make a huge run up and make a new all-time high. Now the scene is set for the altcoins to move. But I do still think we have to urge that caution that if it doesn't, and I'm not saying it won't, I'm just saying that we should have some caution there that things could finish earlier than expected. But I do lean more towards that we are going to have a final push up in this last quarter here. And I do hope we do see a great run for altcoins.
I think that I am holding out, and I really don't want to be tested anymore on crypto and the alts. We've tested the bottom enough. We've tested the bottom enough. It's time.
No, but you can't blame people leaving the crypto space over to stocks. When you see stocks like ASTX go up and make hundreds of percents, when you see OKLL, the OCLO ETF, 2x leverage ETF, make hundreds of percentages in just a few days, and you're sitting there on your altcoin and you're poking a stick at it going, move, go, jump, do something, do anything. And so you don't blame people from deploying that capital into a space, like you say, you get into the fastest car. You don't want to be sitting, driving a car that's not moving, or worse still, going backwards. You want to be making money. We're traders and we're here to make money. And I'm not here to favor stocks over crypto or crypto over stocks. I'm just putting my money into the fastest cars. And if crypto starts to move and that becomes the fastest car, I tell you, I will be deploying into the crypto space. And watching those gains up, and we'll be having a show here where we share Discord plays that were shared of coins that went up huge gains over the next couple of months. And I do hope that is the case.
Okay, we're coming to the end of our show. I'm going to chart 2 stocks, but only if the likes get to 1,000. Come on now, there's a lack of generosity out there in the likes world. 544. I liked this show a lot. I thought it was fire.
I just liked it.
If I get 1,000 likes on this video, I will do technicals for XRP. And I'm going to ask Mark to jump us into the SUI chart and give him the honor of doing the SUI technicals. Him and I haven't talked about it, but Mark, go ahead. I'm going to throw your screen up. Let us get a sense.
Okay, well, let me prepare that screen for.
Yeah, and I promise you, I'm gonna pull a Keenan if I don't see 800 likes, 850 by the time Mark's done, I'm gonna say goodbye. Listen, it's around 4:48. I'm sure my wife has a wonderful Peruvian meal ready for me. So I got other stuff to do. Get them likes up, guys, or we're just gonna say goodnight. All right, Mark, you're up, brother. Sui, let's see what you got.
All right, have you got my screen there, Josh? Is that showing?
Mm-hmm.
It's there. All right. So, all right, let's have a look at the SUI charts here. And what I'm looking for at the moment, as you can see, I'm going to move actually to the daily chart, but you can see it's hanging on at the 50-week moving average. So again, that's the bull market support line. And although that SUI...
Hey, wait, you're breaking my rules. Slower.
Oh, yes. All right, slow it down.
Yes. Talk to me like I'm 3. Talk to me like I'm 3. Go ahead.
So the same 50-week moving average that we saw here on the SUI, on the Bitcoin chart, we can see that has been a bull market support for SUI. Now, it hasn't been as strong. SUI's closed a few weekly candles below that, but it's generally been a good time to buy every time for SUI. So this is either a really good time to buy for SUI or it's over. And so right now there's a trade here, Josh, at $3.39 if this level was to hold. And I would even say at the 200-day moving average, just a little bit below it at $3.28 there as well. Now the 50 EMA on the weekly, which usually does track a lot with the 50-week moving average, they're a little bit different than each other. And I'm not going to, it will take too long for me to go into the differences between them, but this would be probably a good place to put a stop loss. Let me just say that much, that there's really not much left between that when you would lose that. So there's a trade right now for SUI at $3.39 there. I'm just going to flip to the daily chart and have a little bit of a look here, and you can see that 50-week moving average clearly there, just at about 339, and you can actually see where it hit the 200 EMA on the daily time frame there and has bounced off that and is currently sitting right on top of that. So that would be a place I would also consider picking some up at about $3.28 as well. I would probably combine some buys in there, but then I would be out on the 50 EMA on the weekly time frame there. So I do think that the chart, there is a potential there of a bit of a double bottom pattern emerging there just on the daily time frame. You can see it down here at about that 308 level, and there it is about that 308 level, and that might coincide. There it is right there with the 50 EMA on the weekly. So that's really where we found some support there the last time it came down there. So that's what I would be looking to do. And if we were to lose that double bottom, that 50 EMA on the weekly, that would invalidate that trade for me. But otherwise, if we can hold the line here, look, even come down and make a triple bottom down here, Josh. Then
what price? What price on the triple bottom?
$3.08. If it was 308, would be the line in the sand for me. We wouldn't want to lose the 50 EMA on the weekly there.
I agree with you. I'm going to cut in likes. I need 60 more likes. 60 more likes. A couple people in here getting stubborn on them likes. But what's funny is they'll watch.
It's over 700 now. We're on our way.
What's funny is that they'll watch. They're like, I'm going to watch. Well, I'm going to keep asking for likes till you hit the like. All right, guys. All right, we're having fun here. All right, let me give my thoughts on this. And I don't disagree with anything that Mark said. The chart looks good. We have been really consolidating here for a long time. And I want to point out a couple of patterns because you guys, we're going to chart school, guys. We're going to chart school. This is called an evening star pattern. And those who watch me, I point these out all the time. Evening star patterns are pretty simple, okay? Matter of fact, truth be told, let me define this a bit better, okay? This entire section here is an evening star pattern, okay? But there's actually two within it, right? So you've got this move up, okay? And then you have a doji, and then you have a drop. Now, when this red candle closed, now I'm looking at monthly candles, but let's assume on the weekly, when it closed beneath the body of the green, the prediction is that you take the body of the doji down to the green candle's body, and you put that on the breakdown, and it predicts where it'll go next, right? And it gave a prediction that it would go all the way down to there, okay? Now, I just want to point out, so that's the past. Now, you could actually say there's a evening star within a larger evening star, because if you count these 2 months here, be patient with me, guys. If you count this green candle up, and then you count, this is the doji, and then you count this red down, what's interesting is it didn't confirm, okay? So that's how we knew that this was not going to be more bearish, because if it had confirmed, if this red month right back here, which was March of 2025, had closed beneath this green candle of November of 2024, then it would have signaled a complete base out. This thing would have come all the way back to here. All right, so that's the past, and I pointed it out so that you guys could better appreciate the current environment that we're in, because we have the opposite of an evening star. We have a morning star pattern, but it's not confirmed yet. That's this move down, the doji right there, and now we're halfway in the move up. Now, we have all of October for this to close above 365. And if it closes above 365, it's not a huge move. It's not a massive breakout move, but we would have confirmation if it closed above. If in the month of October we closed above 365, it means that we're going back to $4, okay? And some of you would, and then I'm going to tell you, okay, well, people will say, okay, well, so what then? Well, patterns within patterns. We have, let me draw it all out for you guys. We do have a cup and handle pattern. Let me draw it out for you. So this was the cup here, right? This was the handle. And if we break this neckline, then we go back and reference the $4. We reference the $4 down to right about there, right? This starts getting exciting. So if we actually start getting confirmation upon confirmation, and this is actually quite interesting because I predicted this way back here with some other charting techniques. So if we can confirm in the month of October above 365, it means we're going to $4. And if we close a monthly candle or even a weekly, we'll say weekly, if we close a weekly above 4 and we open and close the next candle above 4, then it actually confirms this bigger cup and handle, and it means we're going all the way up to $5.99. And I had predicted way back here, I said this thing likely will top out between 6 and 650. That's where the blow-off candle work will occur. And that is Mark's and my SUI deep dive for you guys this evening. And I agree with Mark. Let me just point out something that Mark pointed out, which I agree with 100%. And it lines up very much with the monthly candle. So he made reference to the idea of this would be a dead trade if it can't hold 308. And look at that. So my concept lines up very much with his. And I would say stop loss. Now, I'm not going to say stop loss recommendation at 307. But if this, for some reason, could not hold 307.45, then there's no reason to give it the benefit of the doubt. It's a dog that's dying, and we got to let it go. But to be honest with you, this all looks good to me. Like, I'm kind of re-incentivized to dip into some more SUI tonight. You know, you got a clearly defined stop loss location, 3.0745. And you've got a target of local confirmation of 365. That gets you to 4. 4 gets you to 6. That's your path. Now,
Yeah,
Listen, let's
Josh,
be fair. We got to be rule followers. You guys didn't get to 1,000. As much as I love you, you didn't. You're not getting XRP tonight. 837, I'm not sure. 850 might have worked. I could have compromised with you at 850, but you know.
because I'd love to do the Solana chart, but we need to get those likes up there, is what you're saying. We have the Solana ETF coming in, and it feels like that is going to be approved. And so it'll be interesting to see what kind of inflows come in on the Solana ETF.
Yeah, no, I agree. BMNR is something that's interesting. You know, I think that there's more there. I'm just reading some comments. Jorge, is that the fib that Mark is using? What did you have on your chart, Mark? Did you have the fib on your chart?
For the SUI chart?
Laura Raposo says that your charts look like a landmine, like a technical landmine. Boom. I'm talking about a different kind of a boom, baby.
My charts are a landmine. It's like yin and yang over here. Josh has the cleanest charts. I envy Josh's clean charts. My charts are like a spaghetti factory of moving averages and EMAs. They make me a lot of money though, but I should probably next time I'll clean them up a little bit there. I'm going to need to go through some chart etiquette training, Josh, for having much cleaner charts there.
So Preet says, Josh, Google and Lyft. I like Google and Lyft. So as long as the relative macro environment holds steady, Google and Lyft are stocks that are at the top of my list. You also, I saw you made a comment yesterday or in the Discord regarding CrowdStrike, and it's also, you know, towards the top of my list. I think they all look good right now. So those are ones that I could say that I endorse. I won't go into them today. I'm just going to read a few more comments. Gilberto said, that dude made 100K just today, and here I am trying for nearly 4 years now and started with 37K, but now I am down 24K. Gilbert Vasquez. Gil, I'm so glad I'm rolling with the dough. Gil, I believe in you.
What was it? The Uber driver that bought ASTS for $8 and made $1 million on the trade. He bought the ASTS trade. And of course, we traded the ASTX trade, which is the 2x leverage of ASTS. And ASTS went up to $86. So this guy 10x. He must have had 100K in there, I guess, to make that $1 million. But he screenshotted his profits that he made. If he had traded ASTX, he would have made $2 million there on the trade there, because that does the 2x of. And I do like trading the ETFs, Josh. You can trade them in the pre-market and the extended hours as well, and you get 2x the gains. You have to be careful because you can get 2x the losses as well on the trade. So that's where that stop loss comes in. But that certainly was a banger of a trade for many people.
I agree, Mark. Kip C, one of our regular guys who's here all the time. I had 2,700 shares of CleanSpark and recently sold to buy back in at 10. I made money, but didn't pull the trigger to get back in. And that, you know, today in my video with Ashley, I think everyone brings a different skill level to this game. I think I bring something with charting, and I stick to my disciplines. The disciplines are just as hard for me as they are for all of you guys. What Ashley does really well is she holds on to her winners super long. I've seen her ride Palantir up and really never sell. Just keep loading, keep loading, keep loading. She's done the same thing with Hood. And so I just wanted to, first of all, honor her with that skill set, and just kind of all of us, we tend to hold something, and right when it moves, you know, we go, I better lock this in because it had been lagging. And I've been working at that a little bit better. It's why I've done the monthly picks at the beginning of the month, and I'm focusing on holding it throughout the month. And because I don't want to swing trade too much. I want to hold my winners longer. So I just thought that was interesting, you guys, to cover. Amazon Play is doing very well. And so, all right, I'm going to give you guys, even though the likes aren't where they need to be, I'm going to give you quickly my thoughts on XRP. And Mark, you're welcome to give your thoughts on XRP as well. Let's jump into the chart. My charts are going to be very simple. First of all, I predicted when we were here, I said that this thing at minimum should hit 440 before this bull run is over. So at bare minimum, we should hit 440. I want to point out that the 9 has stayed above the 20 this entire time. The yellow line is the 9 EMA, which is the 9-day moving average. We're looking at the weekly time frame. On the weekly time frame, it stayed above the 20, okay? Which means that even though people probably panicked when this was at $3.30 and it dropped to $1, that is a 30% drop off or more. The fact is this has remained bullish. There's been no sell signal printed on this chart. Now, if you take a step back, I think we could be forming, we don't have it formed yet. We could be forming an elevated cup, which could produce the breakout scenario of going pretty much exactly where I'd predicted, right around 440. Now, I am not, some people in here are going to say they're super bullish on XRP and they think I'm saying that XRP will only hit 440. I don't think that. XRP could come back into this channel, right? We could get back into this channel and we could absolutely get up here between 6 and, depending on how long this altcoin season lasts, there's room for us to get between $6 to $10. And that's that we finally get the incredible, unbelievable altcoin season that people were expecting. I think that this is the point I wanted to make, because some people might be disappointed that I'm not going to wow them with more technicals on XRP. I'm going to keep it simple. Okay. 1, I still believe that we'll hit 440. 2, this is not even close to over unless we see this 9 cross beneath the 20, because we haven't seen that. I mean, this thing has been above the 9 and 20 ever since this was 54 cents. So some people will not understand what I'm about to say. This move that began right here is still active. This hasn't ended. This is the same move that we began at 60 cents. We're still in this. And you say, well, why are we still in that move? Because it hasn't broken down. So you say, but the price went from here to here. No, the 9 is above the 20. They're still stacked. So we're still in the same move, okay? This is the same move. As long as we don't have a cross down, this is still trending higher. From the day that it broke above 60 cents, this thing is in the same move. So it's not until we get, let's say we roll back up, okay, and eventually we cross back down more violently because at some point everything begins to fade. That'll be the day that I say XRP is over. So I don't know if I made super clear sense with what I just broke down for you guys, but that's how I'm judging XRP. My immediate target for XRP is 440. And that's what the local cluster of candles tells me it could do based on that cup. The fulfillment of that measured move is 440. And then we got to see what else it reveals to us. But the move is still on for the original move from 60 cents to potentially $6, because that's really the prediction that I had made way back then, was a 10x on XRP, a minimum for this crypto cycle. And until that 9 crosses back below that 20, I'm going to consider the up move still on. And so I don't dislike the XRP chart. I don't see anything wrong with it. And if we did break above 350 at any point in the coming days, anybody that got off that XRP train never had a reason to get off of it. They never had a reason to get off of it because the chart was always intact. And if they understood just a little bit that I shared, they would know that at most it was a hold. It was never a sell.
Yeah, I've got someone asked for an XRP line in the sand. I can probably give a couple of targets there, Josh, if you want to flip to my screen there. I can show that over. Just let me know when I'm up. Okay, I'm up.
You're up now.
So what I see here for XRP, a couple of things. We've got some resistance here. There's a clear trend line of resistance that it's bucking into. So there's a couple of trades that can be taken here. One will be, and it's going to have to happen soon, just in the next couple of weeks, to either break to the downside or break to the upside there. And so that level is around about that $2.90, depends when it would break. If it does break to the upside, right now it's at $2.98. Next week it'll be at $2.97. So breaking that trend line here. Now, if we do lose this support line here that we've held for a number of weeks here since August, then the two areas of support would be the 200-day moving average there at $2.57, and the line in the sand that somebody asked for there is at $2.41. We lose that $2.41, and I think we're going to see what Josh said happen. The 9 is going to cross the 20, and when the 9 crosses the 20 on the weekly time frame, you want to sell and go to the beach and get out of town. You want to get out of Dodge at that point. I do believe that if we do break this trend line that is here, and then furthermore, I think we'll get back to around this $3.50 level that Josh indicated, and then I do have a target to the top there at about $4.20 there for XRP if we were to see that. So that would be the first thing, to break this trend line, get back to $3.50. If we break that $3.50 line, then that sets in play that target for $4.20. And to the downside, if we lose this trend line below $2.57 and then $2.41, and we just really don't want to lose that level, that's where the 9 is going to cross the 20, and I think the move's over.
I love that. Let me quickly do some housekeeping. Let's pull up our faces. Guys, don't fall for scammers. There is no Valerium. You know, I noticed yesterday the new scam coin in my comment section is, 300 posts on Valerium. And we go through, I've got 3 people, right, that clean comments. And we can never get them clean fast enough. We clean them, 20 minutes later, they'll drop another 50. So don't fall for that type of nonsense. If you see 20 posts about some random crypto, that's not people in my community endorsing it. Another thing I want to warn you guys about, Chris Wellesley said, I was going to become a member. I didn't because you asked for a mailing address. You don't mail anything to the house, do you? No, and we didn't ask for a mailing address. So that's another thing. If people represent themselves as me and they ask you to do strange things like, where do you live? What's your password to your Coinbase account? It's not me. I will never DM you. And I'm going to tell you something. I'm very busy, and I know you guys are busy. I have never, I don't chat with anybody. There are no DM conversations with me. It's just not going to happen. That's not me. So when you join me or you get to YouTube or you go to the Discord, in your DM, there'll be 4 or 5 people trying to impersonate me. Don't engage them. It's not me. You can only talk to me in the chat channels, in the Discord. And I do respond to comments, and I send the love back. But so that's not me. Don't fall for that. Please be safe. Don't give your money away. Don't give your personal information away to anybody. And why don't we end this show? And if Mark is super simple and doesn't blow it over people's heads, I would love for you to share your thoughts on Solana. But I'm going to commission you for simplicity. What's your target? And what it would be a reasonable stop loss. So where can it go this cycle if we actually begin to trigger? And what would be your stop loss? I won't hold this if it drops beneath this price. Your chart's up, brother.
Okay, so we've got the Solana chart here, and currently price is sitting at $220, just above the 9 EMA on the weekly. Now, Josh referenced that as very important that the 9 stays above the 20, and so that's currently as it is at the moment. The 50-day moving average happens to be there as well. So to the upside, the key level to break for me is $241. If we can break above $241, I think we could see this thing fly all the way up into the 380 region there for Solana. Now, of course, I'm not saying that that's all it can go to, but that's the target I have here based off breaking above this 241. And there's a Fibonacci there as well, and you can see why this has been such a huge level where the bulls and the bears have really battled here, and it has really, really struggled there. But I think a break above that $241 Fibonacci level, that would unleash Solana up to make a new all-time high and to get up into the 300s there. As far as a line in the sand, again, we're going to come back to the 50-week moving average there at 183. I don't want to see that level lost there. If that level was to go below, there is a little bit more. There is another moving average there, the 200-day moving average at 171. So between the two of them, but by the time, these will merge and usually come together if Solana does move to the upside there. But it does have the ETF, and I'm hoping that with the ETF, Josh, it does get some momentum and can break this 241, which it's really, really struggled with there. You can see all the way back. It is really, really, we saw this big move up here in January when the Trump coin was traded, and Solana benefited from everybody having to buy Solana to buy the Trump coin, and it was just a quick wick up and down. But apart from that, we really have struggled with that 241 level. So I can tell you, if we get a good break with volume and momentum, the momentum indicators, I'm going to be jumping in at that 241 level, but I'm going to be very concerned if we start to lose these key moving averages here. They're between right now at 171 and 183.
I love it. Okay, guys. I think people have been asking me for a crypto special. This was it. I hope you found value in it. If I were to sum it all up in a single idea, it would be that I am leaning bullish, cautiously leaning bullish, right? And I think the best could be ahead of us. The market's not slowed down, and everybody out there that you hear that's attempting to guess the top, they shouldn't be doing that. I'm not in the business of guessing the top, or I'm not in the business of guessing the turn. I'm in the business of number one discipline, trade the trend. And we just hit an all-time high. So stop it with the, I know what's going to happen. The market's going to fall apart tomorrow. None of us know that. The current trend is bullish. And I'll be the first. I will literally be the first. You hit that like and that subscribe, and I promise you, if we start getting a breakdown, we start getting engulfing candles, we start getting wicks of doom, I'll be the first to point them out. We just don't have them just yet. So I'm not going to be in the business of taking this, I'm not carrying water for the bears when the bull market's in full force. I'll leave it at that. I appreciate Mark's being here and everything he contributes to the Discord. I'm going to be keeping a closer eye on his picks. I was sleeping a little bit on them, and I regret that. Thank you, Mark, for your technicals and all of your contribution. And thank you, guys, all of the loyal SWJ Heart fan people. I just want to say thank you. We're going to do our thing. We're going to do it. We're going to be pushing hard to finish up this year with some very strong wins. And I appreciate all of your guys' loyalty. And thank you. Love you. Peace and blessings. Take care.